La commence. There comes a stage in every folio where we are looking at the write-up. It's a pretty good idea to get well into your folio before we start thinking about the introduction and what we're going to do, the description, so you can write about it more generally. So looking back at our question sheet, there's a little bit of information here that we need to include in the start of our folio to tell people what's going on. One is it's actually a statistical investigation. We're going to be based on numbers. This is not going out and investigating. The numbers were provided by somebody else. And two, this bit here talks about why we're looking at these numbers. Okay? So all this information is here for you to give you some motivation. You don't need to use all of this, but for instance, what are we looking for? We're actually looking not for mercury, but we're looking for contamination. Mercury is what we're going to measure. This part here, okay, this bit about the mercury concentration, why this is really coming up in the data description. So I'm going to talk about this, why we're looking at mercury, because it's the top of the food chain, and then it explains that gram per million gram, 1/1,000,000th of a gram number. This might be used at the bit of the start, just to talk about where this information comes from, or in the data description. Okay, so this didn't have a super structure about what you did. It wanted to make sure that some of your maths uses the center and some of it uses the spread. So this is median, mode, mean. This one is range, IQR, and hopefully you've managed to do standard deviations somewhere. Maybe your comments such as this would be, the male ages are more spread out than the female ages. That would be a comment that would have to be there somewhere. Whether or not that's true, but that sort of comment, that's the answer to this question. Okay? Looking for difference and similarities. So I would do it for the age, and then do it for the mercury. And then your second look at different ideas is to do with patterns, and this is the correlation, right? So this is naturally forms into like 3 blocks. So what is the purpose of an introduction? Okay, something about why we're looking at this, some sort of description about what the maths will be. You don't need to write a method about how to calculate the mean in an introduction, just talking about what field it is and what we're looking for. And we're looking at, for this question, we are looking at, the arrangement of the mass, how the statistics, how that looks like. Is it symmetrical? Is it bigger for females or males? And then we're looking for that correlation. Okay, so there's a few more hints and words and stuff coming on along down here. We'll talk about the discussion a bit later. So, introduction. I thought I had a blank page. Yeah, once you've got yourself through some sort of heading, you might have your name on it. Interesting. Okay, some sort of introduction. What are the key points that we'd need here? This is a statistical investigation. Or this project uses statistics. Something like that. So there's the word statistical. Information has been, collected by Flinders University. Okay, so information related to pollution. Okay, this folio was going to investigate the information, looking for any links. Okay, basically. So there are about 8 ways you could write some sort of sentence like that. What's going on here? We're looking for some pollution. Now, what is the information? The information is looking at mercury level inside the blood of seagulls. So I've used the words investigator, investigation, investigate. Okay. So there's believed to be a link between mercury levels of heavy metals, there's mercury in the environment, and pollution. You can probably get better sentences than that. You know, that's no problem. You know, there's something similar to that is written over here. Okay, this is just talking about what it is that we're getting. Right, we are now going to examine these numbers and try and find some collusions. Okay, now this is sort of being provided to you. You would use some of this, you know, for someone reading your document. I.e., because it's going to be mercury, 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 Oliver, mercury. See what I did there? Through your project. And so you just explain a little bit about it at the start. Probably not the place to go into for 5, 7 lines, 7 sentences about the effects of mercury on the environment. You can probably do that later on. All right? This is just the motivations. Okay. The statistical tools used will include displays such as box plots, histograms, Okay, so we see here that we're using like future tense here about like this is what's happening in the introduction, talking a little about some of the things that are going to be in there. At no point does this stop and give a step-by-step instruction how to make one of these. Okay, it's just saying what's going to be coming up. Okay, we could mention what we're looking for. All right. So what are we looking for? Thomas, any suggestions? Okay. Or whether we can establish a link and mercury level. Okay. So there's some of the things that we're looking for. Those people madly typing it down, notice you will have to adjust and make that sentence a bit your own. All right? I have no idea how well it's spelt or whatever. So we've got some of the tools, got some of the maths, got some of the background. Notice you'd probably need one more sentence at the start there. And what we're going to do here, this is the most important part.